This is a Tales from the Crypt Golden Age EC comic book. The guillotine cover. Some of you may have seen the TV show. The comic book is a lot better than the TV show ever dreamed of being. Actually, this issue's from 1954. They got an ad here talking about Panic is the best imitation of Mad. It later became Mad Magazine. It was first a comic book. The Crypt of Terror. They had such great artwork in these ECs and good stories. They were like miles above all of the other horror comics. Forever Ambergris. This is an interesting little story here. This guy's the captain of a boat. He's telling his story here in detail. Nice Jack Davis artwork. Anyway, one of the let's see, one of his fellow shipmates, guys on the ship, is always talking about how beautiful his wife is. He wants the captain to meet his wife. So finally, the captain meets his wife, and he falls in love with her upon first sight. And the wife likes him too. So as soon as the guy steps out of the room, like this guy starts making out with his wife. And she kind of reveals that she's only with the other guy because of his money. He's got money. He comes back with drinks. And the captain swears to her that he'll win her over someday. So he stays on with him for a couple of weeks visiting, and they're back out at sea. They see a bunch of other women in every port here. You see even the guy that's got the nice wife back home seeing some other woman. And he hooks up with this guy in the Orient somewhere, gives him a map. He hatches this plan to kill off the guy so he can go back and take his wife. He comes up with some story that he has to deliver some fuel oil to a little island. And he gets the guy with the wife to go deliver it, claiming he can go hunt on the island while he's delivering it as a way to get him out there. Then when the guy comes back, he's sick. The island was condemned with Black Plague, so the guy sent this guy out there to give him the plague. So he's stuck down in his cabin. Meanwhile, this whale starts following the ship. So all the shipmates, they start throwing garbage and leftover food, feeding the whale. That will come into the plot later. And they talk about the guy who got the Black Plague. His face is black. His flesh is moving like it's crawling with maggots. Here he comes, like a classic EC comic moment. They decide to dump him over the ship. They barely touch him. His whole body like falls apart, like it says like jellyfish. Rips through the railing here, falls into the water. Then this guy mentions the whale's right with us. Then the whale throws up. This one guy's kind of grossed out by it, but then the captain says it's whale vomit. I guess is ambergris. He says, which is needed for the best perfumes. Which is interesting. I guess that's how it works. I'm not an expert. I didn't learn that until I read EC Comics. So when they come into port, this customs guy's all pissed off because they didn't they had a plague death on your ship. When he gets in to see the woman, he tells her about how the guy died, and she doesn't seem to care because he tells her he's got a bunch of money. He came into all this ambergris to make perfume. Then here he kind of like realizes why the whale threw up, because it ate the black disease remains of Ben Harper, so the whale got the plague. I don't know if that's accurate, if a whale could get the plague from a human. But anyway, oh yeah, he gave the girl some perfume that was made out of that stuff that he found. And she comes out, her face is all rotten in a way. And she's like, "Why not, man? It's such a lovely smelling perfume, darling." And he like screams. And that's the end of that one. But I think they had an episode of Tales from the Crypt, the TV show, like that, but they changed it around a little bit. They changed the plot just a little bit. It wasn't going after a whale. It was these two war correspondents. The guy from The Who, the lead singer, was in it. Roger Daltrey, he played the bad guy. The Vault of Horror, Burial at Sea. That's the Vault Keeper. Oh yeah, by the way, that's the Crypt Keeper. In the TV show, he doesn't look that way. He looks different. This is another interesting story, Burial at Sea. This guy here hates people, so he goes to this private little island somewhere in the Florida Keys. He's kind of hanging out fishing. He's enjoying himself. Thinks he's all isolated. And then he sees this old man coming out of the sea and then going into a boat wreck. He catches a barracuda here. Then the old man comes out and starts screaming at him with a rifle, "Get off my property." So he figures the guy's crazy. Then he decides, he bluffed me, no way am I leaving. He goes back to confront the guy. Now he plans on setting fire to his boat to get rid of him, because he wants this isolated island for himself. And he finds a gold coin. So he's like, wow, gold coin. His first reaction is to get away with the gold prize, so he drives away. Then he starts thinking about, oh, maybe the guy's got more gold coins. That's why he wants me off of his island. He stops to get a bite to eat, to think about his next move. He decides to go back and get the rest of the gold for himself and to kill the old man. So he comes up in the middle of the night, opens the door, surprises the old man. The old man's like freaking out. And he's like, I've been waiting for you for years, mister. I knew you'd come and try and steal my treasure, so I prepared everything. But when he pulls the trigger, the gun doesn't go. It's an old musket. It didn't go off. So, oh yeah, this guy came up with a jack handle from his car and bashes the guy's brains in. Then he starts looking around. He only finds 30 pieces of gold. I don't know if that's related to 30 pieces of silver from the Bible with Judas. It's kind of interesting. Maybe they wrote that in there that way. And he looks around the cabin and he finds a map. It goes out into the ocean. So he figures, oh, maybe the rest of the gold is buried under the ocean. That's why the old man was coming out. So he rents a diving suit and comes back in the afternoon. He starts looking around. Starts digging. He sees this big slimy stake in the ground, and he's like, oh good lord. He gets scared and starts trying to run away. The cord gets wrapped around it. It falls on top of him. It says, here lies Barney Hogue, born, died. It's got the same date. So somehow that guy was the psychic. He knew that this guy was going to come after his gold, and he had this grave waiting for him, trap to kill him. That's the end of that one. Then they have a little written story. I didn't read that one. They always had these funny ads for an EC fan addict. This is a little fan club they had. You got a few different things with it. Letters page. If you saw the movie Creep Show, they had a letters to the editor page just like this too. That was inspired by EC Comics also. The proposal. This one's not bad too. This woman is sort of a gold digger. But this guy she's with gets tired of her, says he's going back to his wife. She's living in this big penthouse apartment that guy was paying for. So she has to find this other guy who's a kind of a nerd, lives across the hallway, trying to hook up with him so she can try to get him to, fall for her so she can live off of his money. So she's kind of flirting with him. And she finds out where he works from the bellhop guy. The bellhop guy's kind of fresh with her, so she slaps him in the face. It's kind of funny. Then she finds out he owns his own brokerage firm on Wall Street, so she goes to find out where it is. Takes the subway, and she's waiting for him to bump into him so she can get him to take her to lunch. It's kind of funny. So they wind up going to lunch, and I guess the old man kind of likes the attention from the young woman. Then they go out that night with a little ride in the park. She tries to play it cool. They kiss right here. Then at the end here it says, I want you for my wife. And she's like, what? Are you sure? I know you well enough to want you for my wife, Pearlie says. So she gets all excited, thinking she's going to get married to this rich guy, but then she's a little nervous when he introduces her to somebody named Esther in the bedroom. And this vampire crawls out of a coffin. And it's like, she's like, oh, Lord. But then the punchline is, I told you I wanted you for my wife. He didn't want her for his wife. He wanted her to be fed to his wife. So the gold-digging woman got her just desserts. In this last story, The Witch's Cauldron, this guy is in the French Revolution. He's one of the guys who kills people with the guillotine. He gets a note from this guy saying, I'll give you 1,000 gold pieces if you kill my brother. He refuses to do it because he won't do it for money. But then the guy tells him his brother's a sympathizer with the nobility against the republic. So the executioner guy turns in the guy. The guy claims his innocence. The French ragged citizens don't like the guy because he speaks too well. So the jury winds up finding him guilty because they believe the word of the executioner. So this innocent guy is going to go to the guillotine. He gets his head chopped off here. And then he takes the head and is carrying it with him. Oh, he wants to take it back to the brother because the brother wanted proof. He shows his brother's head. He starts freaking out. Get it away from me. Then he throws it into a coach to get rid of it. And some big shot in the French government's like, what the fuck did you do that for? He's like, 1,000 pardons. Then he throws it over a bridge. It lands down here. And they think he dropped it by accident, so they return it to him. So it's sort of a comedy of errors here. He can't ever get rid of this guy's head. Whatever he seems to do, the head keeps coming back to him. It winds up in the cabbage. He puts it in the cabbage. His maid buys it. The head comes back. Head comes back again. He throws it away. Somebody brings it back again. Finally, he gets fed up with it and hacks it to pieces. And then, one of those famous EC Comics moment, the headless corpse comes back all pissed off, wanting its head back. He doesn't have the head to give back since he cut it up. So the corpse tears his head off here and takes his head. The end. That's one of those classic type EC moments. And there's an ad for some shit. Do you need money? Hey Skinny, the famous ad. That's it. Tales from the Crypt. Much better than the TV show.